Greetings, Tezos Nation. Welcome to another edition of TezTalks Live. I'm Stu from the Tezos Commons. Joining me today is Efe Kucuk, Product Manager Gaming at Trillitech. Trillitech, for those who might not know, is the blockchain research and development hub offering innovation and collaborative opportunities to developers and technology professionals interested in the vibrant and rapidly growing Tezos blockchain ecosystem. On today's stream, we'll be giving away 25 Tez to one of our lucky viewers. If you'd like that lucky viewer to be you, keep an ear out for a keyword later on during this stream. Then comment with the keyword below this video where it's posted by the @TezosCommons account on X. Hi, Efe. Where are you right now, and how is the weather?
Hello, everyone. I'm in London, and weather is horrible. It's rainy and windy.
Fair enough. To get the ball rolling, can you tell us a little bit about your background and your personal journey into the exciting world of gaming?
Of course. So pretty much my career kind of started off in gaming. I started in an esports startup that was kind of a social media app focusing on esports fans. After that, I moved to game publishing in one of the largest tech companies in Turkey, where I headed a small publishing department, worked with global game studios, mainly on mobile games. After that experience, I decided to start my own game studio called High Games. As a co-founder and the lead game designer, there I designed over 50 mobile games in a year. We grew the team from 3 people to 35 in a year as well. During that time, I also designed, I think, my most downloaded hit game, Ground Digger, available on all mobile stores still. That reached over 30 million in downloads, and up to this day, it still has over 1 million active users every month. And after that, I also founded an incubator in Turkey called Game Factory, which is also still active. Um, it's actually uh, it's actually the first global partner of Google for startups. It was basically an incubator where we incubated multiple gaming studios, basically helping them how to make successful games, which most of them were significant success. And then my journey started in Web3 after I exited from the studio. I first joined Dynasty Studios, another Web3 game studio, as a head of business development for a while. And after that, I set my eyes to the Tezos ecosystem, got into an interview with Trillitech for a product role, and here I am. That's pretty much a
Very
summary.
concise, very concise. I do have a few follow-up questions.
Of
I
course.
know I know you mentioned one there, but which games have you worked on in your career
Yeah.
that our viewers might be familiar with?
So to be completely honest, I think I've worked directly in over 200 game projects easy. The reason of that is first because of my game studio and the amount of mobile games that we produced in a rapid speed. Basically, they were mostly hyper casual games, and hyper casual business is like you build a game prototype in 3 weeks, you test it out. If the numbers are not good, you kill it and you move on to the next thing, which is quite challenging. And then, yeah, with Game Factory, we incubated over 40 game studios in Turkey. Over 10 of them received an investment, and most of them are selective. So I've been involved with many, many different projects. But I think the biggest highlight is probably Ground Digger, and it's something I'm particularly happy with because I had that hit game in a very tough time.
Mm.
Before that, I failed around 30 game designs, and basically, Grand Digger is a remake of my childhood favorite game. Um, so yeah, it just has a special place for me, and it's still up to this day one of the most popular mobile games.
Okay. And as somebody who developed such a popular mobile game and
Yeah.
did see some success, what made you decide to bring your talents to the emerging world of blockchain powered gaming?
Well, blockchain itself, it was always quite interesting to me. I got exposed to it even before I joined Web3, of course. I was already interacting, reading about it. I just found it really interesting. And being a hardcore player myself, before I joined Dynasty, I even in Game Factory, we started to think about okay, how we can fund more game studios, which
Mm.
actually ended up in founding Game Factory DAO, which is still active. Um, on top of that, we also started thinking about digital ownership of items. And actually, my biggest question that I had in mind was, it's kind of a cliche now because I talk about this everywhere, but um, when you would buy a PlayStation 1 game or even a Nintendo game, after you played, you were able to give it to a friend or even sell it in a store and get a new one. And after everything digitalized in our lives, and it's still getting digitalized rapidly, I think there is needs for two things, and basically ensuring people, because I have no idea how these disappeared in our lives. First of all, is ownership of what we pay for.
Mm.
The second thing is scarcity, because I want to have nostalgia on my digital items as well. So I basically started thinking about, okay, how we can replicate this, and blockchain seemed like a good fit. So I joined to experiment this.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned a couple of things there, but as somebody who's been deeply involved in the gaming industry for some time,
Mhm.
where do you see blockchain technology fitting into the larger gaming space moving forward?
I think this is a question that we should ask to even almost every game specifically, right? Because it's impossible to build a solution or have a solution that would fit all games.
Mm.
All the games have their own monetization ways, their own user acquisition, their own progression layers within the game, right? They are very different than each other, and they are meant to be because it's a competitive market. They have to be different most of the time, at least in some minor aspects, even. So I think it's hard to say, this is the best or perfect solution, or this is the perfect solution. But I think it's more of a question of trying, failing, trying again, just like how I reached success with in my previous company. Pretty much, we really need to try and fail on many different concepts, which is what we are trying to do here. Actually, as you can see with CoinBlast, for example, what we are trying there is social wagering, right? And hopefully in the future, not only the Trillitech company, but even companies in other ecosystems and game developers will try, for example, open economies built using blockchains and so forth. So I think there are many different use cases, but I wouldn't pick out just one and say, okay, this is the ultimate solution that you should use blockchain for. No, I think I would never say that,
Mm.
because when you talk to actual game developers, when you talk about use case, their first kind of argument is that, okay, but why would I use a blockchain for this, right? And there are definitely some use cases that it gets hard to answer this, right? Because there are many different aspects, not only even about the game, but the user's perspective, or what the user really wants, what the gamers really want. So overall, I think this is a question that we should all answer case by case, definitely.
Mm. And it's definitely one that is being answered case by case. Like you mentioned, us being in kind of an
Exactly.
experimentation phase, and we're trying these things out and seeing ways that it might fit and
Yeah,
how it could improve the experience, right?
exactly. I mean, to be perfect honest with you, I have one strong mentality that I kind of found out through my entrepreneurship career, where I led over 70 people in such a young age. I just learned one thing for sure, and which is simple scales. Simple things always scale, and simple things hurt less to fail as well.
Mm.
When you fail a simple product, it's easier to recover and move on to the next thing. But if you spend too many resources on one big product, one big ambition, which is amazing, which is absolutely 100 times more rewarding, it will hurt you more on
Mm.
the longer term. And in such a speed, kind of fast moving environment such as the Web3 ecosystem, where there are many different products growing, you need to be fast, and you need to act fast, you need to scale fast. And I think CoinBlast is the biggest example of it. CoinBlast is a very simple game. It's a it's even less of a like a soft launch game, right? It's a very basic game, but it proves one point. How are we in marketing? How are we doing in user acquisition? And somehow the lights went out. And, oh,
There you go. It's
yeah, I
back.
think the electricity went out. Yeah, great. So what I was saying is, it's an experiment for, like, we are saying if we can do user acquisition, if this scales or not, if this works or not, how our users are reacting, what's our KPIs, what's the retention, what's the engagement, and then understand simply. I mean, the users right now, even like on CoinBlast, over 30K people, right? It feels big in the Web3 ecosystem when you take a look at their radar. CoinBlast being the first game on top 50, it's beautiful, it's amazing. But from where I'm coming, 30K is nothing, right? 30K is, I don't know, like most of my games reached over 50K anyway.
Mm,
Like, it's
mm,
nothing. It's not a big deal.
yeah.
But in Web3, it's more challenging because there are more friction layers. There are more different concepts that you can try out. But when you keep things simple, just like CoinBlast, you can definitely get some activation, as you can see.
Absolutely. And we'll talk a little bit more about
Yeah.
CoinBlast later, but I'm curious in that transition from the sort of traditional gaming world
Yeah.
over to the Web3 blockchain gaming world. How did you come into contact with Tezos,
Mhm.
and what made you decide that this was the blockchain ecosystem where you wanted to stake your claim?
Um, so my first interaction with Tezos actually happened when I was working as the head of BD in my previous company. Because of very strategic decisions we have to take, we were in the look for the best infrastructure that our game would fit. It's a game called Providence, by the way. Check out the team, check out the game. I bet you it's one of the best games still in the Web3 ecosystem because it's being built by a very, very talented and experienced team coming from traditional gaming as well with a huge history. And when I was doing that research, I had different comparison matrices, thousands of sheets, and somehow Tezos was always landing in my top three, especially in terms of performance, in terms of cost effectiveness, and in terms of being green. So that's basically how I first realized, okay, this is really cool. This is actually super interesting, and I started learning more about it. And then
There
luckily, I had this job offer. Yeah.
makes sense. So speaking of that job offer, how did you get involved with Trillitech, and how did that relationship take shape?
Well, classic, typical story, LinkedIn. Yeah. Basically, we got in touch on LinkedIn, and yeah, and then I got this job offer. I was actually first, I think, I was supposed to interview for a BD role because I have a lot of BD background and because of my previous role, but I want to get back in product because this is what I genuinely enjoy. To be honest, overall.
Okay. And now here you are.
Yeah, and now here I am. Yeah,
Okay. And as head of, sorry,
product manager.
product manager gaming at Trillitech,
Mhm.
what is your role here in the Tezos gaming space, and what's the mandate of your team?
So there are two specific and broad targets. The first one is leading developer tooling for game developers, which is the biggest one we have in Trillitech that we are helping to maintain is Tezos SDK for Unity. So basically, I should be listening to the developers. I should be in touch with the developers, and I should be assessing what they need technically and deliver it to them, doing whatever I can. That's the first thing. The second thing is helping top games in the Tezos ecosystem reach success. So because I have lots of experience in gaming, not only in game development but also in game publishing, and besides it, of course, the product side of things like game design, level design, and so forth, I am here to assist the top games that overall game developers that are willing to build in the Tezos ecosystem and help them reach success. So basically, these are my two roles. I mean, I'm doing my best, of course, to help as much as developers as possible, kind of. But yeah, right now I think mainly busy with six different projects. I think the my first project being CoinBlast is the first project that I got handed over when I joined Trillitech, which I led the relationship with the team, as well as we have 2 times a week calls with the team, and I help them with their product design, game design, user onboarding, go to market, and so forth. Overall, like a end-to-end support on how to launch and scale a good game at least. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. And we've all been sort of watching the ongoing
Yeah,
rollout of CoinBlast, and we've been watching it sort of take shape, now that it's out there.
yeah.
For those who might not have seen CoinBlast just yet, can you talk a bit about what
Yeah,
CoinBlast is and who's behind it?
of course. So CoinBlast is designed as a social wagering platform. It's actually not a game. Right now we have only one game on it. It's a social wagering platform. It's designed to have extremely simple casual games that will be available both on web and mobile, which it is now. First of all, that you could play socially, even with friends, with lots of people around the world, for free without anything. And then the second thing, if you want to take it to the next level, you can join in prize tournaments or even create them in the future. And then the third thing, that the games on this platform would first of all have social login, all have frictionless login and play, and they will be available on mobile stores, which is really hard to get, as you might know. We even got banned once, but we sorted it out. It's crazy out there. It's a wild west. And then the second thing, that these games would share their skins, so they would have interoperable NFTs, such as for example, um, NFTs for Trivia Cash works in another game that we are building, like Slime Dash One, that I don't really talk about publicly yet. So stuff like that. So if you have one NFT of a skin, you can use it across games, and it's transferred across games with a single account with your wallet. At the same time, we can attach different utilities and perks, of course. But again, just like I just said, simple scales. Just we are starting very simple. Game is working, social wagering is working, and that's more than enough now. So we need to get some users, get their feedback, see what works, see what doesn't, and move forward with a better product. That's the approach, and then keep building more and more on top of it. Like
Mm,
it's just, we are walking like this, right? If something works, we stop, we take a look, we keep moving forward. But when we see something worse, then we need to start building it vertically. So that's kind of the approach, and yeah, it's going well so far. Uh,
okay.
and just to add,
You
sorry
go
for
ahead.
my long
Yeah,
responses.
it's
If
okay.
cut me if I'm talking too much. But the builders of the game is called Surf Labs. They are actually Turkish founders that I worked together with. I think it was around 3 or 4 years ago when I had my game studio. They were one of our publishers under the name of Coda Labs. They are very successful. They were very successful in the past as well in traditional gaming world. We also beat lots of games together actually with them when I had my own company. So yeah, right now we are working with them on the project.
Okay. And you mentioned the number 30,000 users earlier.
Yeah,
I know that you said where you're coming from, that's nothing. But I
yeah,
mean, it's from my perspective, it's not nothing. That's a fair number of users. A, how have you been able to generate that amount of interest?
yeah,
And B, what has the response been like from the people who have played this game?
yeah. So I think the first thing is it's also the reason that most of Web3 games fail. What people don't really understand is, in this competitive world, in the gaming world of 2024, you can build the most beautiful game in the world. You can build an amazing game that is super unique. But if you don't have a go-to-market strategy, very, very, very likely it will fail, right? And to be completely honest with you, Trivia Cash is not the most beautiful game. It's not polished at all. It's a very early soft launch game to test a concept, right?
Mm,
If you take a look at App Store, Play Store, you can find trivia games that are 10,000 times better than Trivia Cash. But the thing is, we are aware of it. If you give 2 years for a trivia game, you can build an amazing trivia game. Amazing experience, progression, super polished, juicy animations, whatever you imagine. But again, it would be too expensive if it fails, which it can fail, right? Like, games have a very low success rate. Gaming business is a hit driven business. You
mm,
can build 100 games. If you don't have a hit, you will die. That's it. This is gaming, right? How we scaled it is basically, right now, if you downloaded the app, you will notice that lots of all of the questions are targeting the India region and emerging markets region. So the reason that we are using emerging markets is, again, just to use it as a test ground. It's one of the cheapest kind of regions to get acquire users from. I think you're in Canada, right? US and Canada are the most expensive
mm,
in both in traditional gaming world and Web3 gaming world. So right now we are running multiple influencer campaigns, as well as traditional user acquisition campaigns on performance marketing channels to get those users at a very, very low cost. Um, which means that we are kind of assessing, okay, can this game be profitable? Can it become profitable? And what's our overall cost of the users? And thanks to this activity, we are also able to get feedback. So far, the feedback is all right. I think the only thing is that a fair amount of people are focusing on the financial aspect, which is really expected, especially from Web3 type of users, to be honest. It's sort of like a high amount of users, especially the wallet logins that we are seeing. They are really interested in the paid gaming mode
Mm.
rather than the free one. But overall, it's all right. I think there are definitely lots of spaces for improvement, which we're actually already aware of, but we are kind of just validating those points as well.
Okay. And that model that you just described of targeting a specific
Yeah,
emerging market
yeah,
with a low user acquisition cost and digging in there and seeing how things go is an interesting go to market strategy, which, as you said, is a very important thing for a game.
exactly.
Um, and I'm curious, like that go to market strategy, is that with feedback from the Trillitech team? Is that you providing input on how that what that go to market strategy should look like?
Yes, of course, we provide lots of input in collaboration with Surf, the game developer. They are mainly leading lots of the marketing campaigns, but basically we are cooperating on this, and we are just replicating our experience from the past. That's pretty much it. This is
Okay.
We are not doing crazy magic here. I would just say that this is just the beginning. This is nothing for me, and my aim is to bring games that would 10 times do more activation. So this is really really nothing. Like I know we can do much more. I'm seeing the
So
potential, so it's nothing.
that that kind of the bootstrapping that you're describing that you've done with CoinBlast,
Mm.
in terms of their go to market strategy, is that something we should expect to see more of from you and your team?
Exactly. You will be seeing a lot more of it. I'm also, again, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm trying to expand more and more in terms of reaching out more game developers in the ecosystem, and I will try to assist as much as I can regarding their go-to-market strategy, share my expertise, and tell them basically how they should do it, how they should test it. If they're gonna fail, how they should fail. Like I
Mm.
should also be talking about that, right? Because again, it's a hit-driven business. So yeah, you should be seeing a lot more of it, and we are even working more to kind of streamline this publishing process as Trillitech to help game developers even more.
Okay. And how can those who are interested in developing a game here in the Tezos ecosystem make contact with you and your team and access those supports and resources?
I think the biggest channel is Discord. If they join Discord on the gaming channel, if they basically just tag us there, it would be amazing. Or even chat, I'm checking it daily. If not, our team is just making me aware, pinging me. That's the easiest, I guess. But if not, you can send a DM to me on Twitter, wherever. Just reach out to me. I will help you wherever.
What's your handle on Twitter?
Uh, it's Efe Kucuk. So it's Efe Kucuk, not Efe Kucuk. I hope
Okay.
I'm clear there.
I
Because
understand.
yeah, Efe Kucuk is taken. Unfortunately, I couldn't.
Fair enough. This is all great stuff so far. I'm excited to learn more, but before we get into the nitty gritty, are you ready for the world famous Tez Talks lightning round?
Yes, yes, I am.
Great. Just before we do that, I'd like to announce today's keyword for the 25 TES we're giving away today. Today's keyword is exclamation point Trillitech. Enter the keyword exclamation point Trillitech below this video on X, and Nightbot will randomly select today's winner, who we'll announce in the comments below this video on X as well. Okay, now, Efe, it's lightning round time. Remember, there are no wrong answers. This is just for fun, so our viewers can get to know you a little bit better. Are you ready?
Scary. Yes.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Simpsons or Family Guy?
Family Guy.
Movies or video games?
Video games.
That was a trick question. Good job. Is this real life or are we in a simulation?
I don't know. Can be both. Like, okay, I would just say real life for now.
Okay. True or false? Money buys happiness.
False.
Name one thing you absolutely want to do before you die.
Drive a Nissan GTR.
Ooh, good answer. The last place you traveled was?
Italy.
Very nice. In 5 words or less, how would your best friend describe you?
This is so bad. I would say funny, trustable, asshole, Nice, and I don't know.
That's for that. That's
Yeah, that's
enough.
what.
You
Is
can
that
stop
enough?
there.
Yeah, it would probably say bad and good things at the same time.
That's fair. And finally, what is your favorite thing to do on a rainy day?
Gaming, 100% gaming.
Great answer. Thank
Yeah.
you. Those were excellent answers. This concludes the TezTalks lightning round. Let's get back into it. Um, now that we've talked about your role and the knowledge you're bringing to support game builders here in the Tezos ecosystem, I'd like to zoom out a little bit and talk about the larger endeavor to make Tezos powered gaming more attractive for developers moving forward. Obviously, gaming is an absolutely massive market
Yeah.
with the potential to bring large numbers of new users into the Tezos ecosystem, which is something we'd all like to see happen. Um, what is the key to bringing the gaming masses into the Tezos ecosystem as you see it?
Um. So I think my point of view is that right now there are lots of blockchains available, right? And when you take a look at, for example, if you see blockchain just as a decentralized storage, just as a ledger as the way it is, right? There are centralized ledgers as well, right? Like Microsoft Azure or like Amazon AWS, like storage solutions. And game developers, in the end, they always have to make a decision of use some of them or use one of them, right, in their games. And when you take a look at that, if you take a look at those differentiators and take it from the traditional game industry, we can actually replicate it here as well. So usually, speed is not a problem on centralized servers, right? And if you take a look at um, most of the blockchains right now, um, and their current kind of, let's say, TPS, you can also have some average or close numbers,
Mm,
right? That's one thing. But usually, in both centralized and decentralized solutions for gaming, what you will notice is game developers always go to a place where they would have easier to understand documentation and technical support because that's important, right? If a game crashes, they lose money. That's
mm,
easy. If one of the major mobile games, even like Ground Digger, crashes for one day, it would mean losing a lot of money. What I mean is that I think one of the larger differentiators here will be our efforts here in Trillitech in supporting people to use the Tezos blockchain by providing them proper developer tooling, which we are working on building on, at the same time giving actual hands-on support. I'm not talking about sending an email every 1 month, or not even having a call or having a call even, and then just basically going silent and say, okay, build and let me know when it's finished, but actually being hands-on,
mm.
and give them true advice that is reliant on experience and data. So I think this is actually one of the strongest differentiators right now. If I take a realistic look from a game developer's perspective. But other than that, we can of course talk about the future of Tezos, such as Etherlink, and Tezos 2.0 plans, scalability, as well as still being, because of a proof of stake being green, as well as being cheap for transactions. So, of course, these are differentiators too. But I think the first thing is being hands on, being supportive. And this support also includes support coming from our community. I think, as I always say in community calls, one of the most beautiful parts of working in Trillitech or working in the Tezos ecosystem is basically you can build stuff in public. Like when I'm talking to you guys, I don't feel stressed. I just feel excited. When I
Mm.
talk on Twitter, I just feel excited, and I know, like, transparently I can talk about what I'm building, what I'm excited about, and that's basically what I do. And when you see support coming from people, it's just an amazing feeling. Like, this
Mm.
is something that you can't really get in the normal gaming world. So I think community is also really important, and getting that support, getting that feedback from the community, even if it's a one sentence, your game looks like shit. Even that's an amazing feedback. Even that is super helpful.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, to a large extent, step one is attracting the developers who are going to build these
Yeah.
games, but obviously it doesn't end there,
Yeah.
because ultimately, the end game is to attract users who are going to play these games and enter the ecosystem and get involved and stay here.
Yes.
Um, so, as somebody who's been involved with successful games over the years, and as you've said, a few less successful ones as well.
More
Um,
than, yeah, more,
okay,
for
so
example.
more unsuccessful ones than there
Yeah.
are successful ones, which I think is probably the trend
Exactly.
industry wide,
The standard.
right? Um, what's the differentiator between the games that succeed and the games that don't, in your view?
Okay. I think again, this is a really specific answer because everything changes even when you take a look at the platforms. Like a PC gamer is so much different than a mobile gamer. So much. It goes like it's the same way in games, right? The games, like the user experience, even the UIs, everything is different from head to toe. But to speak generally, I think in today's world, again, the biggest differentiator, let's say we have two games in the same quality in the at the same level, the differentiator will be always go to market, how you reach your users, how you do user acquisition, and how you manage that community, and how you engage them basically. How do you make them a fan of your game, not just another user, right? I think that's the biggest key in today's world. But from product perspective, whatever game you have, your core gameplay loop should be first extremely solid. I'm talking about the core gameplay, the core mechanic of the game. Like
Mm,
for GTA, the core mechanic of the game is controlling a character that interacts with real world, like the physics, right? You run around, you drive stuff, you punch people. It should be perfect. It should feel right, and it should be clear to understand, right? When you see a third person camera view in a game like GTA or in GTA, you already understand that you have to move that character and you're going to control that character, right? It's simple and clear. It should have the same thing applies for every game. The
mm,
core gameplay, core mechanic should be crystal clear and super solid, and then you build the rest on top. So yeah, I think that's the main thing.
interesting.
Mhm.
And this is something in this space that we've been talking about for a while. That um, we've seen games brought to market, blockchain based games, numbers of them over the past few years, but none of them have managed to reach that sort of mass adoption moment that brings gamers en masse into the blockchain space. And that's sort of what we've been waiting for and talking about.
Yeah.
Um, do you think there's something fundamental to the process of launching a successful game that's been missing, or is this just a matter of gamers being a particularly tough market to crack?
I think both, to be honest. First of all, I think most of the, especially game, like Web3 game developers in the Web3 space with only Web3 experience, they really need a wake up call. They really need to visit the largest gaming communities and try asking about what they feel about blockchain and Web3 and watch the response. Like, I bet them all today. Go to the game dev subreddit or gaming subreddit on Reddit
Mm,
and post about just this. How do you feel about blockchain? Just post it and watch the comments. I bet 95% will be extremely negative.
mm,
Extremely. Extremely. So that's the first thing. There's lots of bias because of what happened in the past. And then the second thing that they're failing is go to market. This is where they're failing. Like because most of the Web3 game developers, they don't know, they don't have any idea about publishing. They don't even try or don't know how to reach a Web2 audience, because reaching a Web2 audience is not only about marketing and go to market, but I mean, go to market of reaching Web2 players also includes having a proper onboarding, because these users have bias, right? These users probably won't even have a wallet existing and stuff like that. So
mm.
you have to figure that out. So I think these two are the biggest kind of pillars where there are like walls that they keep crashing and crashing, and it's where they need to crack the code. And to be extremely honest, again, I love Surf Labs. I love the Trivia Cash game. Uh, they're an amazing game studio overall. But again, there are 100 times better trivia games in the market, in the Web3 space even. But the reason we got players and they don't is a proper go-to-market strategy. It's loud and clear.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that with that bias you mentioned factored in, and with the sort of the
yeah.
resistance that you're talking about, how can we in the space market blockchain based gaming more effectively to the gaming community? Like what should our message to them be?
Learn about how game publishing and user acquisition in the gaming world works from Web2 gaming. There are, I bet there are thousands of videos online on YouTube. If not, there are thousands of articles like from websites like Deconstructor of Fun and so forth. Read about how it works. That's the first thing. Second thing, find out about the largest ad networks in the world. Like most of them being for mobile. For example, if I give examples from mobile, it's Facebook or Meta right now. Meta ad network is where every single ad goes through that you see on your Instagram or on your Facebook. Oh yeah, Meta again. I like Facebook more still. I might be becoming a boomer. I don't know, but like for example, take a look at those ad networks, and most of that those ad networks they even have ad libraries, which is something that, as you know, if you are working in mobile gaming, they are already using this tool daily. For example, if you go to ad library right now on your websites, just look up for Meta ad library. You can literally search for games or companies, found them, select the country, and see what ads they are running to which and targeting which audience. Like this is an amazing tool. Like
Mm,
this shows you what they are doing to scale, what they are marketing, like what do their campaigns look like, what type of campaigns are they running? Is it interstitials? Is it like how they are reaching their users? Which kind of tone they are using? Where are they targeting mainly? How does the marketing campaigns change by region, by target age, by even by target? You know, there are lots of demographical options when you're going to guess. So basically, take a look at that, and then learn about how to use and operate in these ad networks like Meta Business Suite or TikTok business suite as well, like TikTok Ad Manager and stuff like that. So I think those are the key. Figure out the paid user acquisition channels, and when you are sure about that, when you know about okay how you can run a test campaign, and which country are you going to launch your game. For example, by the way, I don't know if you didn't know, but most of the mobile games always launch in Canada. 95% always. The reason is Canada is cheaper than US, but demographics are super similar. So you can
mm,
get similar metrics and similar understanding of what's going to happen if I target the expensive users which are in the US, and what will my metrics look like. So for example, every Supercell game they launch first in Canada, Philippines, US, and then Europe. That's usually how it goes. So I think, yeah, learn about paid UA, I said. And the second thing, then move on to how to build a community, how to do organic marketing, how do I create content about the game, stuff like that. Because organic can always work. You can always have one hit wonders. You can always have viral games on TikTok. This happened multiple times. But before leaving things to chance and algorithms that you cannot control, go for, okay, how can I use an existing budget to scale a game and get some numbers?
mm. And as you touched on earlier, ultimately, all the marketing in the world isn't going to make any difference unless the game is good
Yeah.
and the gameplay experience is good,
It's not
right?
even gonna work. Like that's what the marketing test campaigns work for, right? If I give an ad in Canada for $50 right now, next day I will get an average CPI. I will get an average cost per install for my game, which already tells me if my game is going to be profitable or not. Because you
Mm,
will download my game, you will play it for a certain time, you will watch certain ads, for example, if I'm monetizing my game with ads, and I'll be able to tell that okay, this guy costed me 75 cents for the download, he watched this amount of as he did this amount of IAP. This is not profitable. My game is not profitable. My game is bad. I need to do something about it.
mm.
But if you don't test things and you keep building and building and then you fail, then it's a massive fail. That's what I'm saying, pretty much.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So now that you've been exploring the Tezos powered gaming space for a while, what are some games in the Tezos ecosystem that people should check out?
I think we already talked about CoinBlast. They can check that out, although they won't really enjoy the questions if they're not in India. So I would say Battle Tabs. I love Battle Tabs. I think Battle Tabs is a great game. It's Battle Tabs is an example of a great game that is community led, a great game that has the perfect core mechanics, really understandable, and it just works butter smooth. It's a great example of how you can make a good game, and it's also an example of how you can make a community centric game. If you go to their Discord today, you will realize that some of the ships in the game they are all designed by their community and added to the game. Like
Mm,
they are super. It's a super nice team. obviously the team is also backed by Bandai Namco, so that's also of course plays a part, and of course validates the thing that they're a great team. But overall, I think that's one of my favorite titles. And then in the horizon, we're gonna have even more projects. I think this year, over 5 new projects. Like Star Symphony will be an interesting one. Metapels also a super interesting experiment. It's a extension based game. Like it's a pet that lives in your browser, which is super cool. And something even more cooler, they have a partnership with Hello Kitty. So they have the IP and licensing from Hello Kitty, and it also has a very strong chance of becoming big. So I'm
Cool.
really excited about it as well. And you
Okay.
can try it right now actually. Metapals, Battle Tabs, all available.
Okay. And as we touched on earlier, the real reason you're here today is to let game developers know that you and your team stand ready to support those looking to build games in the Tezos ecosystem.
Exactly.
Um, to sort of wrap things up, can you expand a little bit on what kinds of support are on offer and what game developers can expect when they decide to build a game on Tezos?
Yeah. As Trillitech, I think if I categorize our offers and go through them, the first one could be technical. Right now, we have a growing gaming team. Our gaming team is very highly experienced. We all have extensive experience. For example, my manager, our head of gaming, Jeremy Fu, he's coming from companies like Garena. He worked on projects like Garena Free Fire, League of Legends, which is my favorite game. So we all have proper and actual gaming experience. I'm not saying we are the best in the world. We know the gaming and no one does know it. I'm not talking about that. But what I'm saying in the Web3 space, if you take a look at some other teams and most of the people actually that are trying to make games, they are failing because they don't have Web2 gaming experience. We do have it, and we are here to bring that expertise with you, merged with our Web3 knowledge. So we have an awesome team that is able to give you product support. We can help you with your game design, how you even if you have some even token economy, we can help you basically do estimations on your game, help you run tests on your game, how you validate your product, how you validate your game from head to toe, like from your go-to-market strategy, from scratching your game on a paper. We are happy to help and do our best. And then on the second side, again, technical support, we have an in-house Unity game developer that is here to support you with our Unity SDK integration. If not with your game itself, if you are using different tools in the Teos ecosystem, we are really happy to give you the support. We have a developer success team, an awesome team that is always here to help you with anything you need, from your smart contracts to your different tools that you are or dApps that you are using in your product. So I think these are kind of the main things. But overall, I'm really happy and I'm really optimistic about the support we give.
Fabulous. And once again, those who want to connect with you and find out more about that, the best ways to reach you are through Discord or to
Yes,
DM you on
on Twitter.
X.
Yeah,
Okay.
X. Oh my, what's wrong with me? Okay, X and Meta. Okay, I
it's
get
it's happening to us all, don't worry. Um Fabulous. We're almost at the end here. Before we close off, I'd like to remind our viewers that we're giving away 25 Tez today. To enter, just type the keyword !Trillitech in the comments below this video on X. For those who miss out today, we remind you there are awesome giveaways to be found frequently here on the TezTalks live streams, so keep tuning in. If you'd like to get in touch with us, our social media contacts can be found at tezoscommons.org/TezTalks. We'd love to hear from you. Efe, thanks so much for joining us today. It's always awesome to speak to gaming experts like yourself, helping build out the gaming ecosystem here on Tezos and keeping us at the forefront of the Web3 revolution. Is there anything else you'd like to mention before we sign off?
Yes, I have two separate messages that I want to let you guys know about. The
Okay.
first message is to Teos community. Please help the game developers in the space, including any project that you see on Twitter, on X, sorry, on Discord that we are talking about. And what I mean by support is I'm not telling like we need to act like bots, support, like and retweet every game. But even more importantly, give feedback, share your thoughts, try out the game, see how it is, and get a hold of it yourself, and let those game developers know what you feel about the game. Encourage them to build in public, build together, and work on the game together. This is the most beautiful thing of working in Web3. And just let the game developers get that feeling, enjoy that feeling. Because when I had that, when I first joined, I was like, okay, this is my thing. I'm gonna do this. It's an amazing feeling. The second thing is for game developers, blockchain technology looks scary at the first glance. And I know that it looks like that, but we are already simplifying this, and it's actually much easier than it looks. It makes more sense than it looks. You might have questions about how should I or how do I utilize the Tezos blockchain, and we are happy to give you tailored advice to your product. We are here to guide you on how to reach success or on a successful failure, which are actually all leading to the same subject with the overall, game success rate of 1% in the gaming industry in general. But jokes aside, we are here to support you through your journey. We have a vibrant team here in Trillitech that will be hands-on, that will do everything they can to reach your game success and grow in the ecosystem together. So yeah, please reach out to me if you are building a game, or just even if you want to chat. Let's do this and let's build these things together. That would be my message, I think.
Fabulous. Sounds good to me.
All right.
To everyone out there in Tezos land, thanks for joining us on the TezTalks live stream. I'm Stu from the Tezos Commons, and our awesome guest has been Efe Kucuk, Product Manager Gaming at Trillitech. Now let's go play some games.